Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast in a game between TyLooJim versus Loner here on Shattered Temple. TyLooJim spawning as the red Protoss player over here at the 3 o'clock position. Meanwhile, Loner spawning as the blue Terran at the 12 o'clock position. This is coming in from Stars War. I believe it is a Chinese tournament. Not quite sure if it's located out of China, mainland China, or if it's located out of Taiwan. And as I say Chinese, I'm not going to get into the politics of Taiwan and China, so please don't bombard my comments with that. Anyways, we're going to see a Nexus now a Nexus with a pylon right next to it down over here. Tylo opening up with our standard 9 pylon here. Meanwhile, Loner opening up with a front door supply depot, making sure that there's not going to be any sort of proxy gateway play that tends to lead to a lot of very early rushes. Barracks most likely will be added on here as this game does start, and we'll see who will be able to come out in the long run. Probe now making its way down, and it will be able to warp in the gateway as it's going to start doing its scouting. SCV now building a barracks a little bit further away from this front door, but it does make sense as normally Void Ray Pressure does or is able to destroy any sort of front door seal that many Terran players do normally like to do. A probe now making its way inside the base. Gonna take a look around. I'm not quite sure why it did a little bit of a double take there. Perhaps just a little bit of a misclick. As an SCV now coming down, both players are going to be able to pretty much know exactly where the other is by process of elimination. Loner now wandering around and scouting out his opponent, while Jim knows that his opponent did go for that earlier gas. So pretty much a telltale sign that it is not going to be a very immediate expansion, but we could perhaps see a Reaper expansion, as now an SCV going to wander inside this base. We are now going into that Cybernetics core as well. No Zealot just quite yet, sitting at 17/26. And he could continue to chrono boost out more probes for a stronger economy. There you go, getting even more probes for a stronger economy, as a Zealot has yet to be trained. Probe now backing out. We are going into a barracks and now also going into a reactor. So interesting strategy by Loner, going into an early tech lab. Oh, sorry, early reactor, not an early tech lab, but he's going to have a large number of Marines. Those Marines are going to be able to fight back very, very quickly, as we now see a Marine now down on the low ground, making sure no more scouting does happen. 23/26 compared to 18/19. That second supply depot now being built as well, being built rather close to home. Still no second gas yet up for the Terran player. Meanwhile, you see TyLooJim running off of 2 gas right now, harvesting a lot, hoping to perhaps get a lot of sentries early on in this matchup and be able to trap his opponent. There is that gateway, and now the probe going to try to walk up the ramp, is going to quickly get taken down there. Probe now backing off down to 2 shields, wants to be able to stay alive. Meanwhile, SCV down over here, not really doing much, just chilling out in the fog of war as the game gets underway. Now, this is close by air spawn, so I'm curious as to what TyLooJim wants to do in this matchup. He does have only 1 gateway right now, getting in a second gateway with the robotics facility, but he has not set up his expansion yet. Meanwhile, you can see that Tylo does have a probe just activating this Zelnaga tower here. He has not seen an expansion either. We may finally see one from Loner, but this is still an expansion before the 6-minute mark. Your pretty typical expansion now, as Marines and Marauders are on the move. Sentry gonna let this SCV slip by, not quite sure why, as the SCV able to just simply slip by and take a look around, and Loner is gonna have all the scouting information that he really needs, as a probe now backs off. We can see that the rather large force is gonna be moving out, and we'll see how Tylo responds to this. Tylo is not going to be able to throw down a Nexus anytime soon. He's not going to feel safe or comfortable doing so. And because of that, he's going to fall even further behind in the economic portion of this game. Loner already getting his command center up, about to be 2/3. And now you see Tylo looks like he is ready to finally get that Nexus up down over here, as the observer is still wandering around on the inside. Combat shield now being researched. Stim hasn't even been started yet, as we are now going into that 3rd barracks. Sentries and stalkers One probe back down over here. Loader still running off of one gas right now, and still also being supply blocked for a little bit of time. And this is rather odd to see a Terran only running off of one gas for so long. It is going to significantly hurt his tech. He doesn't have stim. He doesn't have a factory. He's not going to be able to get medevacs. So he may just be trying to find perhaps a timing with this attack in order to maximize his damage, perhaps well before any weapons upgrades are completed, any colossi are added, or any armor upgrades are added with the help of sentries, really reducing the amount of damage. Observer still keeping track of this army. We're going to see a Reaper now finally make its way out. We are getting in another tech lab over here, a reactor being added, as this Reaper going to perhaps do a little bit of be able to jump up here in just a moment. And there you go, already taking some very easy damage. Down it goes at 8 hit points, or 2 hit points before the final shot. Probes also being transferred to the low ground, as we are now sitting at 33 compared to 31. 34 harvesters compared to 33. Both sides still rather even. We are now finally going into a factory, and we'll see if TyLoo will be able to find a better timing in this attack. In the last matchup, he didn't quite find the necessary timing, and then I believe that's what ended up costing him the game. As TyLoo is now currently 68 over 68. He needs to upgrade another warp gate and perhaps warp in some more pylons as well. 68 over 76, getting in another gateway here. And with 5 gateways, that means that he needs to be warping in a pylon every 30, almost 25 seconds in order to make sure that he doesn't fall behind with his food, as immortals are also being added as well. Starport finally coming online. Reactor also coming online as well. It looks like it's going to be training up 2 immediate medevacs, as the observer just hanging around out front, keeping track of what's going on the front door. Immortals, sentries, and zealots. One immortal going to hold the Zonaga Tower here, as a marine looking to do a bit of scouting, perhaps trying to find out where or if an expansion has been set up. Starport about 5 seconds away. Engineering bay still needing 18 seconds. And now orbital command plus orbital command. We'll be able to call in 2 mules in just a moment, as we now finally see some action coming in from TyLooJim. So Jim now making his way in with this decent sized army. Not quite sure if it's enough, as you can now see that there is a Guardian shield up. Marines are now engaging, and Marauders and Marines unable to fight back over there. Zealots getting shot, but the Immortals should have been able to finish off this one particular bunker there. And force fields up onto the high ground. Nothing really be able to spot there. More Marines getting caught out of position. And now, wow, Loner may be in a bit of trouble as more Stalkers coming in, finally getting the necessary range units in order to really deal with this army. Immortals battling out. There's the force field on the ramp. Medevacs just coming over, but they are maybe too little too late, as Loner losing a lot of harvesters, down to 26. More Marines coming in as well, as Loner is forced to say GG. And now we have game 5, folks. So both players just trading losses with each other, as we now go to a pivotal game 5 in this, what I now know is a best of 5 series. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.